People talk about surviving cancer, but nobody talks about what happens after. This is a story of what comes next. At 38, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia at stage 4. I knew I had self-diagnosed, but I didn't have insurance, and I let it get to stage 4, doing my best to find the holistic route. Filled with fear and anxiety, I began telling everybody goodbye before I was even diagnosed. I was able to get insurance and immediately went in for a random checkup, and they immediately told me to go to the ER. And from there, life changed. When life changed after diagnosis, I was still very healthy, I was very strong, I was still mobile, I was still doing everything I could to fight, to beat, to make it through. After treatments, after hospital visits, after everything started changing, losing my hair, looking like death, the emotions started to kick in, and there came a moment where I knew there wasn't beating this, and all I could do is surrender to what was in order to beat what is. And in that moment, I found a strength of letting go and allowing life to be what it's going to be without trying to control it. Life became survival. Weekly, daily hospital visits for transfusions, more chemo, week to month-long stays in the hospital for chemo, the isolation, living in a bubble with no immune system. I was bubble boy with no immunities. I lost a lot of people, and I lost myself. It still hurts to think about everyone that is not here with me anymore, but I'm thankful to still be here and have myself. And everything changed after I went into remission. People said, "You don't got cancer, come over, hang out," but I couldn't. Once I was in remission and able to be put on a transplant list, I was able to leave the hospital for a little bit, but still had to go back weekly for chemo. And at that point, I had a lot of people that were super excited that I didn't have cancer anymore, and they wanted me to start showing up at their houses and stuff and hanging out with them again, and I couldn't. I had no immune system. I couldn't be in their environment. And a lot of people took it personal, like they're dirty or something, but it wasn't about them being dirty. It was about the cleanliness that I need in my environment at that point, right? Like any bacteria, any dust, any pollen, any mold, anything that was in the air or not could have potentially killed me. So the bubble I lived in was real. I avoided people. Even though I was in large crowds, I still stuck to myself. That's when I started losing a lot of people. I had to push a lot of people away. A lot of people just didn't want to deal with me anymore. They didn't know how. I was going through something that they couldn't understand and didn't know how to be there for me. I had a lot to learn about myself and about people and about trauma and how people show up for each other in times of need. And that helped me realize that survival wasn't the end of any of this. And nobody really prepared me for that part. My whole focus was beating cancer. And after I did, it was a good accomplishment, but I continued dying every day after as I watched pieces of me just fade. Rebuilding my identity, not knowing who I was or who I could be, became a confusion that was real. One of the biggest challenges I faced after survival was financial. I couldn't do what I used to do to make money. I couldn't earn a living. I couldn't provide for myself. I was dependent on disability. And as soon as disability said I wasn't disabled anymore, even though my doctors were saying I was, they let me know I needed to stop being lazy and get the fuck up and go provide for myself. No, they told me that. Really. The system doesn't care what you're going through. It doesn't care if it makes you homeless. It doesn't care if you're dying. People don't care. So you have to learn to be an advocate for yourself and really learn how to pick yourself up and keep moving when there's no direction at all. So financially, I've been finally able to rebuild, but it was a struggle. Rebuilding relationships, or having them. After living in a bubble for 1.5 years, almost 2 years, it made it hard to get out of that bubble, to let other people in, to trust people again. Because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my body. I didn't trust my mind. It was all failing me. And at that point, everybody was, including me. So learning to trust myself was where it all started. Learning to find the avenues of health, therapy, getting the mental right, finding a natural medicine doctor that helped me get through all the brain chemistry and understand what was going on in my brain after chemo. Working through all that with him, weekly therapy sessions, has helped me find purpose. And in that purpose, I found healing and ways to heal. I dove into my art. I dove into my writing, analyzing everything I was going through. I dove into music that felt good to my soul, that reflected things I was going through. And I dove into reflecting on the past, the present, and what I want my life to be. I began getting super grateful for everything, not just the good stuff, but the bad, the pain, the struggle, and everything that's continuing to make me stronger and helping me show up for my kids, my grandchildren, and those that love me. So I created this channel, Alchemize My Life, by transmuting the pain and the struggle I went through with A.M.L. and all the lessons I'm learning. Because I know there are people out there trying to rebuild their life too. If that's you, I want you to know you're not alone. I'm Jason Furman. I'm a stage 4 A.M.L survivor.